Hi everyone, this is Professor Rich Gere from Valencia College in Orlando, Florida. I'm welcoming you to our new YouTube channel here, which is devoted totally to this year's 2012 Holocaust Study Abroad trip. I did put some other videos on my other website, the Orlando Prof website, but decided that it would be much easier for people to follow us if they just had one video site that was dedicated just to this year's trip and no other channels or anything that are on my particular website, no other playlists or anything like that. So it's going to be the students and myself traveling through Poland and the Czech Republic. We're leaving June 21st, and it's the culmination of a semester of very serious study of the Holocaust in class here at the college. This is the third annual trip that I'll be leading. Paul Chapman, a humanities professor from the Osceola campus, will be my co-leader when we have a large enough group. The American Institute for Foreign Study does give me the freedom of putting a second professor on to assist, and of course Paul is an incredible resource to bring along with me. The 15 students I'll be bringing to Poland this year represent a variety of students. They're mostly females, which is a trend that I've noticed in past trips as well. We'll be documenting through our journaling, the textbook which I've written for the trip, which is an interactive textbook requiring them to record a lot of their responses and reactions to what they see in the book, which then is processed formally into a printed book after the trip is done. That's their final project. And in addition, we'll be shooting a good number of videos. I maintain 2 video channels, actually more than that, but for your purposes, this particular website will be where I will have students post videos daily, and probably myself as well, under Holocaust Trip 2012, which is the name of the site. The other site is under Professor Gere's Vimeo channel. I have a video channel called on the Vimeo, where video service, where I have longer videos, things that run a lot longer than YouTube allows. In some cases, I have entire tours through concentration camps, like a 1-hour walking tour through Mauthausen, which I made last year in Austria. This year, we'll start off in Warsaw, and we'll move on to Krakow. While in Warsaw, we'll visit places such as the Jewish Historical Institute, the oldest institute devoted to the publication of Holocaust publications and material. They house some of the rarest artifacts in the world concerning Holocaust studies. And it's a very interesting visit there. We have a museum that we visit, a movie we'll see, and a lecture. And then we'll also see some very, very rare artifacts that can't be seen anywhere else in the world, and photographs of what life was like in the Warsaw Ghetto. From Warsaw, we'll also be visiting the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising Museum, the Gestapo Museum, all the significant historical sites, such as the loading platform where 330,000 Jews were deported directly to Treblinka death camp. That's known as the Umschlagplatz. We'll visit Mila 18, which is the location of the official bunker of the headquarters of the Jewish Fighting Organization during the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. And we'll visit the Okapawa Street Jewish Synagogue, Jewish Cemetery, the Nozick Synagogue, which is the only still operating synagogue in Poland today, in Warsaw, I should say. And hopefully, last year we were lucky. We hit the synagogue at a time when one of the gentlemen in the synagogue, who was very knowledgeable, gave us a nice, about a half-an-hour lecture on the history of the synagogue. And we'll visit other sites that are relevant to the Holocaust as well. We'll move on then by rail to Krakow, where we'll spend 3 days. And there we'll visit places such as Oskar Schindler's factory, and the location is exactly where Schindler's List, the movie, was shot by Steven Spielberg. We'll also visit the various locations that the movie was shot, some of the scenes, the scene where the apartments were being destroyed during the liquidation of the Warsaw Ghetto, if you remember that scene, where they were going through the apartments and shooting people and so forth. And there was like a balcony outside the apartments. And we'll visit that exact location. We'll also go to Plazov, which is where the slave labor camp depicted in Schindler's List was located. And we'll tell you more about that when we video it. All right, so I'm not going to tell you much in advance. From Krakow, well, while we're in Krakow, we're also going to visit the Wislecki salt mines, one of the UNESCO Heritage wonders of the world. It's an underground salt mine that is an incredible sight to see, and that's not really part of the Holocaust story, and yet it is, because most of the guides won't tell you that the Jews were used as slaves in the salt mine. From there, we'll move on. And well, while we're in Warsaw, also, we're going to visit 2 death camps, Majdanek, which is outside of Lublin, and Treblinka. When we get to Krakow, we'll spend 1 full day at Auschwitz-Birkenau. And then we'll move on to Prague, where we will visit the Jewish quarter in Prague, where there are a number of synagogues that are still standing and still operational. We will also visit the site of a little village called Ladisha, where a very historic event took place. The Nazis, in retaliation for the attempted assassination of one of their higher-ups, Reinhard Heydrich, murdered most of the people in this little village, and we'll bring you up to date on that when you follow us there. And then we're going out to Terezin concentration camp, which was the camp outside of Prague that the Nazis used as a model for the Red Cross when they toured, to show them, in essence, how wonderfully we are treating the Jews, and that the rumors were nothing more than that, rumors. So we'll spend 11 days, and it will be a life-altering experience, to say the very least. I can't put into words how profoundly this trip affects the students each year. Each night after we visit one of the death camps, we will have a very, very important debriefing meeting / class session where we will sit around informally and everyone will get to share their reactions, reflections, their emotions on what they saw that day, because what they see those days will be life-altering, and there will be images in their mind that will stay with them for as long as they live. And it's very, very important in Holocaust studies to have a debriefing session when we bring the students back from visiting such a site. Some of them are very emotional, some of them are very introspective, and it takes them a while to get those thoughts together because they're so confused by what they're confronted with. But it's a very important and worthwhile session that we have each of those nights. On July 2nd, Paul Chapman will lead the students back here to Orlando. And in Orlando, there will be another meeting for Paul to wrap things up with the students. They'll turn in their final evaluations, and there'll be a debriefing meeting for the whole trip. I will continue on to Israel, where I will be spending 3 weeks in a professional training seminar at the International School for Holocaust Studies at Yad Vashem in Jerusalem. From there, I will be renting a car, and for 9 days, do some of my typical driving around to see some of the historic and biblical sites of Israel. This is my 6th trip to Israel. And then I will be spending my last 3 weeks there as a volunteer in the Israeli Defense Forces, the Israeli Army, not knowing, of course, where I'll be stationed and what I'll be doing, but it's volunteer work, so you go and do what they need where they need it. And that's the whole core of that experience. And then I'll be returning back here to the States after that on August 18th. So I'll be out of the country for an extended period of time, basically for June 21st until August 18th. I know that some of you would love to be on a long trip like this. It is very exhausting, but it's very rewarding as well. So I'm going to bring this video, welcome introduction video, to a close here and offer you this. Follow us. Follow our Facebook page. Follow our YouTube channel. And I can assure you that you will find it a very rewarding experience to see what the students are doing and learning. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you on YouTube.